I'm sorry. You have to have a blue thread. Now, the blue thread is something absolutely fascinating. In the time when they came to Eretz Yisrael, in the time of Joshua, so where did this blue thread come from? It came from something called a chilazon. The chilazon is some kind of a mollusk, some kind of a snail that grows in the sea.
I thought it was like a worm.
Oh, it's a snail that grows in the sea. Yeah. And according to the Gemara, it's so fascinating. Every 70 years, a particular part of the coast was flooded with these things, and they would take them and they would squeeze out their blood, and they would use the blood to dye one string inside of the tzitzit. And now what happened was, with the dispersion of the Jewish people when Sancheriv came about, what are we talking about, 2,500 years ago, give or take, the Jewish people were dispersed from the land of Israel, and at that point, the Masorah, the tradition of what exactly was used to make the blue thread, was lost. So already the halacha talks about the idea that the blue thread is not. It's in the lashon of the Gemara. It's like it's not ma'akev, which means that you don't have to have the blue thread in order to fulfill the mitzvah of tzitzit. However, who was it who asked about yesterday? Was it you? Was asked about chelis yesterday? Yeah. That you'll see now today that actually it's become reasonably prevalent, which means there are people walking around with tchelet, with this blue thread, right? It's like a trend, right?
So
on their tzitzit. It's not a mitzvah, right? Today, like this, if you don't have it, there's nothing wrong. And if you do have it, then okay, the question is what's being used. So it has a little bit of fascinating tidbit of history. Hold on a second, because the halacha learns out that the blue thread is not ma'akev, right? Which means that you can fulfill the mitzvah without the blue thread. However, listen to this. Just calm down. I didn't say anything. Don't hit me.
It's your body language.
I wasn't going to. I was going to beat you. Back before the Second World War, there was one Hasidic Rebbe called the Regina Rebbe, who claimed to have found, over the generations, people have been trying to find this method of being able to turn the thread blue. He claimed that he found it. He went around to all of the great rabbis of the generation pre-Holocaust, and nobody was prepared to sign on this thing that he'd found it, because one of the things that he'd added into the concoction was zinc oxide. And that has a habit of turning things blue. Which means that nobody said it was the right one. Now, what's fascinating is like this: during the Second World War, during the Holocaust, the Regina dynasty was wiped out. Most of the Hasidim died. The Rebbe himself was killed by the Nazis, and the very few Hasidim that were left after the Second World War wanted to carry on the traditions of the Rebbe. They wanted to dye their thread blue, but they didn't know how to. So they went to Rav Yitzchak Isaac Herzog, who was then the chief rabbi, the first chief rabbi of the state of Israel. But before he'd been the chief rabbi of the state of Israel, he was the chief rabbi of Ireland, which is an island off of England, off of Britain. And he'd written his PhD thesis on the tchelet and the origin of the tchelet. And within his thesis, he'd published the recipe that the Regina Rebbe had used, and he'd proved that it wasn't real, right? That's not genuine. So they went to him to get the recipe in order to be able to make tchelet again. My kids have a dentist called Dr. Greenspan, who he set up a thing called Machon Tchelet, where they are trying to investigate all the various possibilities of where this tchelet can be found, right? Which animal it comes from, well, not animal, which mollusk it comes from. They've narrowed it down to two possibilities. Both of them off the coast of Israel, can be found from time to time. The tchelet that's being worn today, is it real? There's a pretty good chance that it's real. There's a chance, because they've got it down to two different possibilities. There's a chance that it's not real. right? But nevertheless, I am sure that within the next little while they'll come to some kind of a definitive answer as to which is really the molech that was used, and then maybe then we'll all start wearing tchelis again. I don't know. We'll wait and see.
But you have to be 100% sure.
The truth is, you don't have to be 100% sure. I mean, all these people that are walking around with tchelis are not. I can't imagine they really are 100% sure. But
but for it to change.
In order for it to become like an obligation on all of us, yeah, there's got to be 100% certainty that this is the right one, right? So until we've got that, then we don't have we don't have an obligation to use it. Again, if you want to use it for sure, you go ahead and use it, and if you don't, it's okay not to as well.
That explains why they're so expensive now.
Yeah.
About the mitzvah part, there are lots of mitzvahs involving the temple that we can't do, but that doesn't make them not mitzvahs.
Right.
How can it say you shall do this?
Here, because
Yeah,
what it's saying,
because
what it's saying is like this: that the minute we know for sure what it is, then I guess we're all going to have to start wearing it. At that point, the rabbis will say, "Here, look, this is the halacha. This is what we have to do." And then at that point, everyone's going to be wearing tcheles, and everyone's going to have get made out of the same dye, right? Until that point, then I guess we're in default, which means that we can't do it because we don't know what it is. According to halacha, you can't be obligated to do something which may not be correct, right? So in the meantime, you can wear your tzitzit, you're fulfilling the mitzvah 100%. But if you want to fulfill the mitzvah in the absolutely best possible way, so that's going to have to wait a little bit until we find out what the tchelet really is, and then we'll be able to put it onto our tzitzit, we'll be able to use it. It's a mitzvah that can't be done right now, yeah.
But it's not a current obligation because we're not sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So we put our money in a better terrace or something.
I mean, personally, I think perhaps investing your money in keeping your favorite rabbi happy is probably a much greater investment right
Have you
now.
seen him around here?
Anyway, maybe we should stop over here. I think after this this marathon class that we just had on the Shema, in Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to stop over here. Tomorrow, of course, is the best day of the week because it's Friday and I don't have to come in.